Hey everybody, Bill Miller here again. This is my second video. I assume if anyone ever does start watching these videos, nobody's ever going to watch that first one where I rambled for 57 minutes, I think. Going forward, I'm going to try to stick to maybe a 12 to 15 minute window, talk about one thing, possibly two, and then we'll put an end to it. I have a tendency to ramble, so that's just something I'm going to have to battle. Anyway, I am a former abuser. I'm 1 month away. I'm 1 month out of being a former or being an abuser. I've also been probably an alcoholic for the better part of the last 15 years of my life. All of which I am trying to change. I have made a lot of progress, but still a long ways to go. I don't know exactly when I will or if I will ever be able to say that I don't have any part of being an alcoholic left in me or any part of being an abuser left in me, but I do hope for both. I'm pretty certain that I can accomplish both. I'm pretty steadfast on not ever allowing myself to go back to that person that I was. I became that person at a young age. I never really addressed it as I got older, until it finally came back and got me, and I lost my wife just a couple of weeks ago now. This is my bar that I now live in temporarily until my wife and I go through the process we need to go through to figure out where I'm going to stay, where I'm going to live, if I need to go find a new place or whatever. But all of it is in thanks to my being an abuser, an emotional abuser and an alcoholic both. What I want to talk about today is the decision-making process that we all go through. It's kind of challenging because there's so many different, it's pretty well established how the decision-making process works. Changing that process is a little less maybe clear. I think a lot of us know, or if not, then we'll cover it. But most decisions you make during the day, during your life, it's a reflex, it's an instinct. You've gone through it a million times before. Say you drive from home to work every day, Monday through Friday. You take the same roads, you drive the same car, you wear the same, certain number of outfits. Very little of it is an actual decision that you consciously make. They're mostly just unconscious decisions, or in your subconscious, however you'd word it. That sometimes is confusing, but most of your life you just make decisions based on that, like how you've reacted in the past, the roads you've taken in the past, and you don't really give them much thought. That was me for probably 35 years, maybe 39 years, if I were to be honest, to where I was always kind of a bully. Thought I was a tough guy, thought everything was a competition that I had to win, and by winning, I somehow felt like I won. But rarely do you actually win. The other person just doesn't, care to fight or battle because it's not worth it to them the way it seemed to be worth it for me for some stupid reason. But now I'm super focused on being aware of the decisions I make. It doesn't mean you have to think long and hard about every step you take walking down the from one point A to point B. Those are just obviously instincts, reflexes, whatever you want to call it. But with the bad decisions you make, you obviously want to change those processes, change that path in your brain that instinctively makes that decision. So like when my wife would do anything to upset me, or not to upset me, when my wife would do anything that I didn't know or understand why she did it or the reasoning behind it, my first thing is to get mad. I would just get mad and raise my voice, start yelling or criticizing or belittling, telling her how stupid it was. That just is what I have always done my whole life. I wish I could, knew exactly why. I wish I could go back and change it all, but it's there. It's been that way for as long as I can remember, and those are my pathways. And it's a horrible way to be. It's a horrible way to live your life. It's a horrible way to treat people. And so I'm in the process of learning how to change that. Popular belief is to just start, if I want to change the way I react to things, I need to engage different parts of my brain, not just the instinctive part or the part that just immediately reacts to things. You have to start engaging other parts of your brain. It sounds like the frontal part of your brain is where most of that stuff happens. Deeper within your brain is where the bigger decisions happen, where you actually take a few minutes to think about, take a day to think about, or a week or a month to think everything through, make a different decision, and maybe start changing those instincts, in the front part of your brain. A small example would be, say you take the same route to work every single day for years. You never even think about it. That's not a conscious decision that you make. You just do it every day. But it is a decision. It's just not one you actually decide. So if you change that route on your way to work, just randomly go different roads every day for a month, just take different roads. What you're doing is engaging the actual part of your brain that needs to think about things like, hey, if I go this way and then I can go back on that road and then head down that way or whatever, I can still get to work. Might take another minute or two, but it's still a different route that I take to get to work. And the only thing that I accomplish there is to engage my brain, get my brain working. I think a lot of people believe that Alzheimer's, dementia, a lot of it is your brain. You're not using your brain. Your brain is stagnant. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. Just what people have, kind of been saying for the last month or so. But it does make sense that if you were to just change your routines on a daily basis, what you're doing is you're engaging the actual decision-making part of your brain, not just the reflex part of your brain. And by doing that, you're stimulating, you're creating new pathways. So, say you take a different route to work every day for a month. Well, now, like, you've broken that other instinctual part of this is just how I get to work. Now you have all sorts of options, like how I get to work, and your brain actually becomes engaged with your decision-making process, and you're creating different, thought processes or whatever. So relationships are the same. You have to change the way you're thinking. For me, especially, I have to change the way that if I always react this way, if I feel myself starting to get upset, my instant reaction is that is your instinct that's getting upset, because that's what you've always done. And the very first thing I do now is change it. Don't do that anymore. Don't fall into that trap where that's what you've done, because you've been an abuser your entire life, and whatever you've been doing hasn't worked. So change it. So now if I feel myself getting upset at all, the first thing I do is just stop. Think about it for a second and say, what else can I do here other than getting mad? What else can I do? The first thing that you can do is maybe put yourself in the other person's shoes just for a minute. And why is my wife doing this? Why is she saying that? Why is she treating me this way or acting this way. It's not to hurt me. There's no reason for me to get mad. She's not doing it because she's like, oh man, I'm going to wake up today and hurt my husband. That's not at all what's going on in her brain. That's how it feels or felt on my side, because I don't maybe understand why she does what she does or did what she did for a minute. But all you have to do is stop for a second and say, you know what? I don't understand why she did that. So just ask her. Just say, like, that kind of came across as something that that upset me, or like that kind of made me sad-ish, like that made me, my first instinct is to get upset, but I know that you didn't do that to hurt me. But I would love to, like, if I can understand why you did it, it would help me so I don't instinctually just get mad next time. And so, like, you just kind of talk to her, and I guarantee you, well, for the 2.5 weeks that I practiced this before she left me, before I relapsed and became abusive again for a night and ruined everything, it worked. It worked. Instead of getting, my first instinct is to just get mad and blow up and then start insulting and yelling, which made everything 100 times worse. Every time we do that, anyone out there that does the same, she does something that I don't understand. It makes me mad for some reason, which it really doesn't. It's just you don't understand it. So because I'm emotionally not mature or developed enough, I just get mad and insult her or criticize her or beat her down so she doesn't do it anymore, just so I don't have to understand it, which sounds silly, and it is silly. It's lazy. It's not something you do consciously. It's something that just you do because that's what you've done for your whole life. But just stop for a second and just say, like, hey, I know you didn't mean to hurt me, probably, but I don't really understand this or why you did that. And if I did understand it, then it would probably just help me, feel like, next time I don't need to get mad. I can just realize, yeah, it's probably just something I don't really understand, and just ask her about it or talk to her about it. And the 2.5 weeks that I did it, every single time it made it better. Without exception, every time. It just ended it right there, and it was mostly like, I'm sorry I didn't mean it that way at all, or I'm sorry that's not at all what I was thinking or trying to do. This is what I was thinking, or this is why I did it. And then it just makes sense, because you're talking to a grown-ass person that's also lived a life, that has a brain, that has feelings and emotions and good days and bad days, and all of her experiences in life. And so, like, if she does something that I don't understand, just ask her to help me understand. And you know what, like, she will every time, because it she did it. It was important to her. She helps me understand why she did it, and then I get it, and it's done. The whole thing's over, and it's beautiful and brilliant and simple, and nothing I've ever been able to do before until this past month. So for anyone out there that kind of falls into that category of, you just do things because that's, you don't know why you do it, you just do it because that's what you've always done, maybe just stop for a minute and think about, like, hey, what if I just change that pattern and just talk to her and just say, hey, like, that kind of upset me. And it probably shouldn't have, but it did, and I'm sure it won't if I kind of understand why you did it. But just that approach builds trust with her, that she can say things without me blowing up. She can, feel a lot more open, comfortable opening up to me, talking to me, because she knows if she says the wrong thing, I'm not just going to blow up at her and make her feel stupid for saying something or hurting my feelings somehow. But instead, she can, she knows if I don't understand something, I'll just ask her or tell her that I don't understand, and ask her to elaborate, explain a little bit, so it makes more sense to me. So then I'm over it. It just becomes a conversation, not a fight. I don't become a bad guy. I don't become an abuser. It just becomes, I become a little more familiar with her, a little more understanding of her, empathetic, compassionate maybe, which all of those things are 1,000 times better than me being just a big mean jerk that, you know, the way I had been for the past 39 years of my life. So hopefully that's something that you can kind of think about when, you know, if that's something you do, if your first instinct is something that you don't like it to be, then start changing it. And it's okay to change it. It's not even that hard. All it is just kind of be aware that, yeah, I'm getting triggered, I'm getting mad. So just stop, take a couple breaths and just go, yeah, let's just talk about it. Like, let her know that, yeah, for some reason it's rubbing you wrong or making you upset, and you just want to understand better. And I guarantee you probably every time she'll just oblige and be like, yeah, I didn't mean to do that, or that's not how I meant it at all. And you know what? And then it makes life better. It's just, I wish more than anything in the world I knew all this before I lost her. But maybe one day I'll have another chance. We'll see. All right. I'm signing off. 16 and a half minutes. Not bad for me. I will, we'll address another topic tomorrow or next time. Thanks, guys.